campus. Obviously, the football campus is something that will be encapsulated inside the Kenneth G. Dixon Athletics Village, but that's just part of the vision of the overall facility plan. The master plan will include most all of our sports, including the venue, track and field, soccer. So you might have seen some aerials of images where the track was no longer around the soccer field. That's because we're looking to possibly relocate the track somewhere else so we can create this really cool soccer environment. And I truly believe that we have a lot of upside in soccer. We can be a power. We're emerging that direction already, and I truly believe that we have a chance to win national championships, multiple national championships in men's and women's soccer. So I didn't put all those images out just because right now where we are in the national landscape of conference alignment and the talk of football, I thought we would just focus on football, let our fans see that, let them enjoy that as opposed to getting too wide with the message that we're trying to create. But rest assured, we are thinking of everyone in this process, meaning all of our sports.
Can you just kind of talk about how this came together? You've only been here like 6 months. Was this a process that maybe had started before you got here? And then how quickly did things come together to be to the point, hey, we got a rendering, we got, we're going to raise money for this. How quickly did this come together for you?
Well, they had a master plan, but not quite like this. It was a little different, a lot different actually. As you look at, and obviously I've been previously been at AD almost a decade, so I've been to a lot of different facilities across the country, and I knew that we probably needed to upgrade and to enhance our facility. That was paramount for where I believe this program is and needs. And so basically on February 7th when I started, I called some of my old architect people that I've worked with over the years, and said we need to be quick but not hurry in putting together a facility plan. Did I know that the landscape of college athletics was going to be like it is today when I first got here? Not necessarily, but you always have to be prepared. And you prepare for any situation, and as opposed to hope for the best. Hope is not a strategy.
In terms of a timeline, what does that even look like? Do you have an idea about that in terms of like starting this? And I know there's different phases. How involved is that already?
Well, the concept was first and foremost, and it wasn't an approval process. As I continue with my tenure here, I'm learning about approval processes to the state. Every state is unique. Every governance of your individual institutions and your higher ed governing bodies of the whole state are different. So I'm learning a little bit more about what we have to do to get those approvals. But in the meantime, you have to fund it, and we can't, as you guys know, we can't receive state allocated dollars to fund this. So it has to be privately raised. So where we are with funding is a big part of this. We'll start putting together performance, but we wanted to go ahead and cast the vision of what we're trying to do to get people excited. And now the next phase is this kind of funding. Once you start the funding process, you get the approvals, then you can do the blueprints. The blueprints usually take 6 to 8 months, and then you start from there. That usually we're doing the blueprints during that time. So I have no timeline right now, and I don't want to be beholden to any timelines, and you just never know how these things, from my experience, and I've done a big project in the state of Florida before, and it was a while back, and so sometimes the governance change of how these things are initiated.
What do the proposed changes mean for stadium capacity and in particular student attendance?
Well, based on our very preliminary review, is we were basically going to take the south end zone upper deck. It doesn't affect the students at all. And we would repurpose some of those seats to loge boxes Those boxes, it gives us another premium product to use, which we have, I've been told that we need more. Plus, it gives us the opportunity to help fund this project. The premium products not only create a great atmosphere, but it helps fund the project. So, but I've also had discussions with the students. My first week on the job here, I had this discussion with Gabriella and Meg about, Sabrina and Meg, Sabrina and Meg, she was the student body president when I first got here, and then now Meg's the current student body, about their desire to have more seating for the student body. And so we created those two wings up on the north side that also has standing room only, kind of like I said yesterday with the Orlando City areas that south, that end zone they have. They love that idea, they wanted that. So the seating capacity, actually, with those wings and repurposing the upper deck of the south end zone, we actually gained about 14 to 1,500 seats. Preliminary is what I know now, without going into a deep dive. I don't know if that answers your question.
Kind of a two-part question. You've referenced a couple times that, no one really knew Texas, Oklahoma, and a lot of people that was, result from that was necessarily happening when it did. So did this kind of, just be clear, that push up your timeline for this announcement, at least to unveil the football side? Was this, if that hadn't happened, would this have been something you maybe would have announced a few months down the road?
No, we were already working on that before
Okay.
that. And so, we're not trying to compare ourselves to anybody except to be the best we can possibly be. And if you can only do what you can do, you'll never be more than you are. And we can do a lot more. And we have the depth in this region to do more. And I know we have the 1-2 as well. So so we already had that going. That's really hasn't changed. I think from a recruiting standpoint, is I'm gonna walk by a bunch of our players who are like, when's this gonna be done? I want to be, I want to make sure I get to be a part of this. And so, I said, the seniors probably won't know. They will not be able to use these facilities. But the main thing was we had some really good elements like McNamara Cove, and I love the idea of how I think we just repurposed how it's being used in the location. We relocated just from a geography standpoint. One of the most outstanding things that we have is the geography. The fact that we have playing fields, game field, indoor field, the locker rooms, in the proximity that we have, and be able to drop a hydrotherapy, recreation, recovery river, and McNamara Cove right there in the middle is second to none. It's second to none. So we have a lot of great, and we want to share our vision. We want people to get excited. There's also challenges with sharing your vision. People start asking, when are you going to do it? When's it going to be done? Why'd you do that? Why do you need that bridge? Why'd you build a fence? So, we know that it's hard to unseize things, but again, I want to remind people, these are conceptual designs.
You have, mentioned obviously, like I said, with contrary alignment, potential upheaval, it's maybe going to continue for years, so how quickly this will be resolved. But what message do you think this sends nationally, just to show that, UCF's had a great program the last few years, they have a great facility plan as well. What message do you think that sends nationally?
Well, we're going to continue, it sends the message that we're going to continue to merge. We're going to continue to get better. We're at 97% capacity, and we may be able to announce, I think, based on my meeting I just came from, probably going to be able to announce that we're at 98% capacity. And we just went our shareholders, our major gift program, we're at 200. I'm giving you guys some we haven't even put out there yet. And so we're excited. So we're going to try to be the best we can possibly be, which is, we continue to climb. And I'm not worried about what other people think of us, except to be the best we can. We are now in position, based on what we're currently doing with our staff, our development staff, our ticket staff, the capacity of our stadium, the vision of the program. We are truly, it's just like Coach says all the time, it's not a marketing campaign, it's what we believe. We feel it, it's authentic. We are the future of college athletes, especially college football, and the eyeballs that we have. So we're excited. Yes, sir.
Is this an all-inclusive project when it comes to fundraising, getting to that top dollar, or can you a la carte as you go, or what's the plan?
Well, I don't know if you noticed it, we phase it at 1, 2, and 3, that's kind of the phasing, but it's phased for a reason, because you have to, when we needed the functionality of the water features for rehab and hydrotherapy and all that kind of stuff, but you can't do the player areas until you move the coaches out into the south end zone. So yeah, it's phased that way. So it'll be, how long that will take? I mean, if we have all the money, we can do it, you know, you could probably be done over a couple seasons.
You've stressed the importance of fundraising. What can you tell us the latest on the stadium naming rights for the football stadium?
Well, we're still working through the process, and we're working through just making sure that we got all of our I's dotted and our T's crossed. So it's a good question, and working through with the university and trying to make sure that all the processes are in place.
Do you have a timetable?
I don't. We're still working through it. Yeah, some of the details. So we don't have it. So hopefully it'll be soon.
The football campus specifically, I think you mentioned a little bit of this yesterday, but how involved was Gus Malzahn in this, you know, not necessarily like picking and choosing what he wants, but how was his opinion, I guess, in this process? If at all.
I kept him involved, and he said, "I trust you," you know, and everything he sees, he's like, "This is awesome." He just keeps saying that, so this is awesome. He's like, "This is awesome." I mean, I just saw him when I was walking over here. He's like, "Oh, can you blow that up and put it outside our fence?" And so we're going to do that. And you know, where I need him most for is when we start getting into the details of his coaches' offices and the player areas. I met with Coach T. Will, Coach Hand, and started getting into some of the weeds of some of the programming of this space. But the concept, you know, I brought it up to the thing that I really wanted his input on, and I probably asked him, and he'll tell you, no less than 10 times, was when you are building coaches' offices inside a stadium, and they're a little further away from the player areas. And I called some other coaches around the country to also get some opinions about what they thought about putting coaches' offices in the stadium and being a little further. Every one of them said the idea of having coaches' offices in their stadium, in the stadium, is such a recruiting advantage. At my last place, when I hired Butch Jones, he never has been in the program. There's been a lot of high-profile programs that had a coaches' office in the stadium. Evidently, it's a big deal, and it's definitely an advantage to have. So we're trying to give our coaches the advantage from recruiting, plus celebrate the space heritage of our program, also by encapsulating the indigenous nature of Florida by the resort pools, but also make it very functional when it comes to care and prevention and rehab for our student athletes. That's a big focal point. A lot of people, and it's not, you know, I kind of made a little joke, but it's true. It's not just for football; it's for football, FUTBOL. Since our men's and women's soccer programs are also right over here, and they are high level. But this will be accessible to all of our sports.
As you've learned, as you've been here, the space theme with UCF has really been popular the last few years with the uniforms and the logo and the canal blue and what have you. I noticed some of the, you know, renderings, I know they're just conceptual, like, you know, things can change, but, you know, we saw like a, you know, countdown clock, you know, launch pad stuff. Could that be a glimpse of maybe, you know, future branding, maybe to take that to the next level instead of maybe that medieval knight that kind of has been the branding, you know?
Well, I mean, yeah, no, I think we want to capture both. I love Knights because we're the only, you know, I guess Army is one. They're Knights too, right? Black Knights, yeah, okay. So, but I mean, the Knights is such a cool logo and such a cool name. I just think we want to, you know, celebrate our space heritage, why this university was started, and it's just such a great, you know, connection, and people love it. So why not use things that people love? I don't know if we like the Knights. I don't know how much people really look at it as medieval. I never really looked at it as medieval. I just like it your night, you know. So going forward, you know, it's kind of a creed, being a knight, the loyalty and the passion and you know, the camaraderie of that. So
I think the other day, the shareholder number was around 195, 196. You mentioned you guys are over.
we hit the 200 mark today.
How does yesterday, you know, an announcement like that kind of rile up the donors?
Huge. People are fired up. Not only are people fired up, our key stakeholders and our constituents in this region. We got people all over the country fired up. I mean, I got no less than probably 10 media people across the country, national media people, saying this is cool, this is different, this is unique. That's really cool. Congratulations. So they love it. So people are taking notice, and as we continue to merge, it is absolutely refreshing and wonderful to see people in California hit you and say, this is fantastic. Love what you guys are doing down there in UCF. That's what we have to do. That's when you know you can change your program. When you have eyeballs in California watching you here, that's the difference. I say this quite often, and I know I may take a little brief on this, but you know, Alabama is not, they're a dynasty right now, not because of their viewership. They have 4 million people in the state of Alabama, but they're a dynasty. People in California, people in New York, people in Michigan watch them because of who they are. That's where we have the built-in eyeballs. As we continue to grow and continue to merge, and I think we have the right players involved in this program, there's no doubt in my mind that we could be one of the top 10 brands in college football. No doubt.
Outside of football, when you speak of upgrades to facilities, what are you finding lacking from the current facilities?
Well, it's really the player. We want to continue to enhance the player areas. You know, I think the one really outstanding thing about Florida, from my time here before, student athletes really don't talk about the facilities that much. They want to know 2 things. Do you care about me, and can you help me get to where I want to go, either academically or athletically? And for the most part, that's what's being done. But now it's to the point, it's such an arms race where there is a couple of areas that we have is a little bit of a glaring difference compared to who we're recruiting against now. So we need to really enhance those areas. And I'm not going to get into the exact areas, but we got some work to do.
I think you said yesterday in your DOT presentation, it's kind of like a staring contest right now with everything going on.
Was that, do you think that's right?
Yeah, that was a great analogy.
Okay.
Yeah, because
everyone's just kind of like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, because you know, when it takes Oklahoma, when are they going to pull out? And then today, you know, that alliance between Pac-12, Big Ten, ACC might be finalized, although I don't know if anyone knows exactly what that means. Just what do you think the next few months, is this, you know, obviously everyone's anxious to see what's ultimately going to be the fallout from all these changes. Do you think other things may happen, you know, sooner than later, or is this a process that may take years with media rights and other things coming
You
up?
just never know. I think there's a lot of posturing right now. And again, going back to the question about you know, how this helps our program, I will say this is one. I'm gonna get a little grief from people. You know, because of our built-in eyeballs, because of the deep breadth we have as a program in the region and the market, it's so important that we continue to emerge. Okay, Alabama. You know, I talked about being a dynasty. You know, for 20 years, people weren't watching Alabama, right? Before Nick Saban got there. When Nick Saban retires again, they go back to 8-4, 7-5, whatever that is. Where are they going to be? So you got to choose, and you got to be a part of programs that have these built-in eyeballs. We're one of those. You saw that stat that we put up there about major network televised games. That's a huge stat. That is a huge stat for us. And so you have to have eyeballs to make money. Well, we're there. We're already there. It doesn't matter whether you are undefeated or you have 8 wins. You have the built-in eyeballs. So that's what I hope we're all looking at. What value do we create for the AAC? Do we have more value than another conference might? We might. I'm too new here to really know what those numbers are. But all I know is we can keep doing what we're doing to enhance our brand, we'll do that. And I think as we continue to have these really innovative initiatives, we'll keep tripping them out. We'll let people know. We're gonna tell our story, I can tell you that. We're gonna tell the story.
Thanks, Eric.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it a lot.